Good morning. Actually, it's afternoon, but it's Sunday, and I always like to do a meditation on Sunday. I kind of got out of habit because I had moved and a lot of things were going on in my life, but I did one this morning, and I wanted to share with you some thoughts that came up that I think are helpful for everybody. But it actually really spoke to me because it was about being at peace with where we are. Um, so many times it's easy to want to rush forward and to create something in our life, but there's a beauty in just trusting in the process and allowing and surrendering to where you are, because there's always something within that moment that is there for you to learn. And every time you actually give yourself that opportunity to look at yourself, to step outside of the victim mentality, and to truly ask yourself, what is it that I'm supposed to be learning right now? um, every time, once you go there and you face that energy and you incorporate it into your own beliefs, you will shift out of it. Energy will shift, it has to. You will begin looking at things differently when you look for the lesson in situations. Um, you might even have to, especially once you step out of the victim mentality, have to look at yourself and see how you're responsible for being in that situation. Because we all play a part. Even if you're in a friendship or relationship, or even at work, if there's a relationship that is not serving you and is not at peace, we still play a part, even if it's just continue to participate in it and quietly. So standing in your truth is very important. But some questions that came up for me when I was meditating um, was that one, at what level are we operating? Because really, we are the ones who manage our energy through words, thoughts. Thoughts are very, very powerful, especially they are so powerful because so many of our thoughts are just subconsciously. We're just they're like on a loop. They have been a pattern that you've had maybe for years or maybe for since you're a child, Unfortunately, there's a lot of things that our parents, whether they had good intentions or they were not in a good space, um, we take on even their unhealthy or toxic thoughts and ways of seeing things and the ways of operating through life. So, really, our thoughts are extremely powerful. Okay, then you also have other ways of managing your energy is through action, but also through inaction. A lot of times we may think by doing nothing that we are making a difference. And sometimes, depending on the situation, stepping back and just observing and doing nothing can be healthy, but staying in a place of doing nothing becomes stagnant. So it's actually not really operating from your highest self. Um, so these are ways that we can consider reviewing um, when it comes to our energy and what we're putting out into the world, what we're putting into our relationships, but most importantly, what we're putting into ourselves and how we are giving and nurturing ourselves. So another question that came up was, when you're putting energy out into the world all the time through many different facets, are you filling yourself back up? How do you fill yourself back up? What do you fill yourself back up with? And yes, our lives are very busy. They can be very busy, especially if you have children, if you work a lot, um, if you are the person that everyone comes to. Maybe you're that person in the family or just in general. Maybe you attract that kind of energy because you are very nurturing. It's so important, whatever role you're playing, where you're giving so much energy, to continue to fill yourself back up. That can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, hey, maybe a half hour, but make yourself a, the most important thing when it comes to putting your energy out there or into something. If it's only a small action that you're able to take and you just want to start out by making small changes, because maybe really, let's be honest, doing deeper healing work can be overwhelming. I completely understand. So maybe we can just start with something small. And so what came up for me to share was If it's just a small action that you're able to take, consider self-loving talk. Self-loving talk is so important because it literally is um, the smallest but most powerful way that you can actually change um, deeply enrooted thoughts and beliefs and patterns that are not serving you. Most likely, a lot of things that you tell yourself, a lot of ways that you view yourself, um, have come from experiences, a lot from your childhood, a lot from people around you. And if you find yourself in a negative talk loop, it's really important to one, step back and see where that has come from. Because we are all innately loving beings. We are all human beings that have come through life to where we are in this moment with so many experiences. Some can be very traumatic, some can be very self deprecating, some can be really, really deeply wounding, as you know. Um, but the point is that you are here now in this space, and it is up to you to change the vibration that you are operating at. And now is the time, because everyone is slowly waking up to the realization that so much that's happening in our society is not for our well-being, and it is controlled, and it is um, made so that we feel like we are never enough, that we will have to constantly be seeking or buying something, or you know doing certain things to be accepted by a certain time in your life. But that is not true. You have control of your life. Every choice, every thought, everything you say, it's up to you. You're very powerful. And I will always continue to say that in all my videos, because we are all so powerful. We are limitless. So that's another thing, I'm getting off the topic, but society really doesn't want us to explore that we are limitless, because then you won't really need all these things that apparently will make us happy and everything will be fine. Um, Even though there's a lot of things, and food, shows, books, clothes. There's a lot of things that make us happy and feel good, but I'm talking about a deep, deep happiness. You know, when you are alone and you are just like so connected with that great peace that lies within you, because you are operating from your most authentic self. So, with self talk, your inner dialogue is a great space to start if you want to make changes, if you want to get healthy, if you want to nurture yourself. Um, so, first question: what do you want from others? So many people are looking with outside of themselves for someone to fill their void, for someone to give them that feeling of being accepted, to give them that feeling of being loved, of being important, of mattering. So, whatever you're looking for someone to tell you, whether it's at work, in your relationship, in your friendship, just in the world, I want you now. Think of that. What do you want? What do you want to hear? Now, I want you to take that and I want you to tell it to yourself. I want you to tell yourself that every morning when you wake up. Okay? And I'm curious of the different things that are coming up for you. Um, but um, let's see here. Some of the things that I wrote down that are with a lot of people, and it's not so much this first one. I was going to talk about money. It's not so much that money is super important, but I just want to show you how powerful you are. Because a lot of times, if people are dealing with money issues, a lot of times it's because of their inner dialogue. And almost always, no matter what, it has to do with how someone feels about themselves, of whether they feel worthy in general. But a lot of times also, if they feel worthy of having abundance. So a lot of it starts with our self worth, which you are going to slowly build up with your inner dialogue and your self love. um, this doesn't need to be spoken out loud. This is something you can do inside your head. Um, and you can do it daily. You can do it in the morning. I do a lot of times in the morning. I want to get focused. I want to step into my power. I want to, come back to me. There's so many things sometimes going on in our lives, or triggers that bring up things from our past. And you have to work through those things. There are just so many different ways that we can be affected, and we're always dealing with certain emotions. However, it's so important to take that time to tell yourself, the things that you want to hear from other people. You need to start with yourself. So the first thing was money. A lot of the things that maybe come into a loop are I'm always broke. There's never enough. I heard that a lot growing up. There's never enough. And it really shaped my view of money for a really long time. Thankfully, to a few of my friends and even my uncle, I found this letter that he wrote me one time. And I mean, I didn't even need to see the letter to remember it because it was such a pivotal change for me. But it was about really trusting that I am where I'm supposed to be and to learn the lesson in it. And this had to do with money, with a financial situation. Also, at that point, when I received the letter, I was hoping that I could find a roommate. I was living in San Francisco and it was so expensive. And his point was, is that know that I am worthy of every and anything that my heart desired. It was about knowing that the perfect roommate would show up when I needed them to stop putting out these desperate, anxious feelings, this anxious energy, because then that's what I would keep being met with. And so that was the first time I was presented with realizing how powerful I was and that I was the one who was going to change my reality. And, I really love and appreciate him for that. Um, so another thing, also a little twist to that is, you could be thinking, oh, there's never enough money. I'm always broke. I'm always paycheck to paycheck. You're like telling yourself, so it becomes your reality. That's going to mirror you. But you could also not be happy for people who are wealthy. That also is putting out a specific type of feeling. That could be with anything. That could be with people who have money. It could be people who are happy in love, who have found someone and they are just in this beautiful, united relationship. It could be people who are just thriving in their career. Be happy for other people. That is very powerful too when it comes to how things are going to come back to you into your reality. Um, some ways that you can turn those inner dialogue, uh, ways that you're speaking to yourself is that, and I actually use this a lot because, and it does work because, and it is, it is very powerful. I always say money comes to me in the most unexpected ways, and it does, and it is so amazing when it happens, and it feels so good because the point is that I don't need to know where it's coming from or when it's coming. I just know that it will. Um, Another thing you can say is that money is all around me, it's all around you, and there is enough for everyone. We are taught by society because there are different classes of people, unfortunately, um, that only certain people may deserve money or should have money. And that is absolutely not true. There is an abundance in this world, and everyone deserves to have a part of it, and including you. So once you start getting into that mindset where it's not even just about you, but everyone, you'll start to feel different about money and see it differently and know that it is in your reality already. All you have to do is be open to it. And so that might mean changing how you talk or think about it. And lastly, you could just say, I am deserving of financial abundance. It's very powerful. These words are. It can seem simple, so you might think that it needs to be more outlandish to be effective, but it's not. It's you creating a belief for yourself and then watching it happen, trusting in it because you are worthy. That is the bottom line. You are worthy of anything that your heart desires. So the next thing, as far as inner dialogue, inner self-talk, is about love. You might say, I keep attracting fill in the blank, this kind of person into my life. I keep having to deal with this kind of person in my relationships. Well, I would ask you then, what do you keep attracting? And how and where do you see that within yourself? What kind of void are you looking for them to fill? What void needs your attention, needs your love, and needs your healing? Because no one is responsible for healing you or for filling these voids, for making you right. You are the only one. So it's important to step again out of the victim role and see your position in it. But another thing that you can do when it comes to love is again go back to that beautiful sentence of I am deserving of, and fill it in with whatever it is that your heart is aching for and that you know you deserve. Begin telling yourself and reminding yourself of your worth. Unfortunately, things happen to us throughout life that can wear at your self worth. And I understand. I totally get it. But it is your time and it is your responsibility to give that to yourself. And